This is part 4 of Create an Animation in Scratch. In this segment, we will be working on Scene 2.1. Let's take a look at our project page. 2.1 takes place in the party room. The princess is all by herself, and her lines are, "What does the fox say? La 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 la." I love this song. And also in Scene 2.1, we're going to make her do a little dance. Okay, so that's our plan. Let's put it into action. First, I want to switch over to Stage. Make sure I'm on Scripts and head for Events. And in Events, I'm going to grab a When I Receive block and set it to Scene 2.1, which was a message we recreated in our work on Scene 1. Okay, when the stage receives the message 2.1, we want it to switch to the party room backdrop. So I grab, not this one now, that's an and wait block. Let's put that away. Make sure it does not have and wait on the end, or that will create all kinds of problems. Alright, that's all we need for stage. When I receive Scene 2.1, switch the backdrop to party room 2. Next, let's move over to the sprite section and choose the prince. And go back to his event blocks. And when he receives Scene 2.1, we want him to hide, because he's simply not in Scene 2.1. So we're all done with the prince. Now the princess, this is her scene, so we have a little bit of work to do here. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to be able to see the party room here, because we're going to be putting the princess in position. So I'm going to jump over here to Stage, and then Backdrops, and click on the party room backdrop. Okay, now the princess, whom we can't see, I guess we should fix that, huh? There's two ways you can fix that right now. We told her to hide in Scene 1, and she did a good job of that. I could click on the princess and click her blue info button and check this box right here. That's way number 1. Way number 2 is to point at the princess and right click on her sprite and choose Show from the bottom of the list. Now, you can see the problem we need to solve here is the microphone is pointing the wrong way. Now I could flip her over, but just for fun, I want you to know that in backdrops, you can also flip things around and make changes. So I'm going to turn the party room around instead. And now the microphone points towards her. Now I want to put her in position, and I think she's a little bit big compared to the microphone, so I'm going to shrink her down a couple of clicks here and get her into position. This is where I want her to be at the beginning of Scene 2.1. Okay, so before you do any scripting for the princess, you want to do all this work, or for your sprite number 2, get your second sprite where you want them to be in the scene, because that'll make this next step very easy. Alright, in Scene 1, she's hiding, so we're going to go to Events, When I Receive Scene 2.1. Okay, first thing we want to do is get her into this position. Now up in the top right corner here, Scratch tells me that she is at X -42 and X or Y -28. When I go to motion blocks, those numbers are already there for me, which is very nice. Makes my work nice, quick and easy. I put her into position, and now she's hiding. I want to tell the computer, go ahead and show her now that she's in position. Okay, my next task is to start working on her say blocks. So I use my project planner to make sure I get the right language in there. And I go ahead and create my say blocks. What does the fox say? La, la, la. Okay, now I want to remind you that when you are creating your say and think blocks, that you really should test out how long they're on screen to make sure that your viewer has time to read each call out as it appears. So let's click on it. What does the fox say? La la la. If you have enough time to read it, then it's on screen long enough. Also remember that you don't want to put too much text in any one say block, because the call out might not be able to hold it all, and also your person viewing your animation will have a lot of reading to do. And I think it's a little bit better for the flow of your story if you have your language coming in small blocks here. We'll put that one at 3 seconds. That'll be good. Next, we're going to work on her dance loop. So I'm going to grab a repeat block here. Now I want to set it up so that she dances in between her lines. She's going to say, what does the fox say? La 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 la. Then she's going to do her little dance in this repeat loop. Then she'll say her second line. Because remember, these scripts play from top down in order. So now let's get some blocks in place. We'll go to looks, and we're going to grab a simple block here called next costume and put that into place. Go to control and get a wait block, and we need that because the computer's so fast that if we don't, we won't really see the costume changes when they happen. And I'm going to put 0.25 in there, like 25 cents or a quarter, 1/4 of a second. That should be enough for us to see each costume. Now, next problem to solve is we only have one costume. So up here on the costumes tab, I see that I only have one costume. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate. I'm going to point at the costume, right click and duplicate, and make a second costume. And on that second costume, I can click on it. I can move her up and down or sideways or tilt her with the rotating tool to create some motion. And that's real simple with these clip art style costumes. Now some of you out there will have photo image costumes. So let's choose this guy right here and add him in on my costume list real quick so I can show you how you are going to do your work. If my computer will catch up with me, there we go. Now, he doesn't have grab boxes like the princess costume does, so you make some with the select tool. Click on the select tool, draw a box around him, and now you've got the same capabilities that you have with the clip art style ones. Okay, but he's not staying in my presentation, so I'm going to take him out here. But if you have photo images, that's how you manage them, with the select tool. Okay, now I've got one costume. Let's make another one. Right click, duplicate, and this time rotate her back, bring her down a little bit. Right click, duplicate. So I'm just quickly adding some motion in. We'll move her forward a little bit. Have her dip a little bit that way. One more. And you can make a whole bunch of these if you want. It depends on what you want to happen in this little sequence here. And we'll tip her back, bring her up a little bit. And now let's see what that looks like. I have 5 costumes to rotate through. I'm going to go back to scripts, and I'm going to change the to 15 here. 3 times 5 is 15, which means she'll do her dance move sequence 3 times all the way through. Let's try it out. What does the fox say? La 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 la. Does her little dance. And she loves this song. Alright, just one more block and scene 2.1 will be ready to go. Our next stop is to go back to events and get a broadcast block. Open up the menu and create a new message called Scene 2.2. Okay, and that will get us ready to start our next scene. Let's try the whole thing out right now. We will click our flag. There's scene 1. There's scene 2.1. She does her little dance and finishes with I love this song. And there you are. You're now ready for part 5.